Good morning, I'm Paul Lisnick, and coming up today on WGN-TV Political Report.
Representative Madigan engaged in conduct which is unbecoming to a legislator or which constitutes a breach of public trust.
A historic moment in Springfield. The Special Investigative Committee looking into alleged misconduct by Speaker Michael Madigan, and just 30 minutes after they convened, the committee adjourned to a later date. Chicago City Council back in action for the first time in more than a month. Artemon Bradley will break down what they did and didn't get done. And it's the ballot battle in Illinois that Governor Pritzker is spending more than $50 million to support. Now the richest man in Illinois is putting up $20 million of his own to defeat it. Why the stakes are so high for the graduated income tax amendment. And again, good morning, everybody. We begin this week with the Special Investigative Committee in Springfield. The committee is looking into alleged wrongdoing by Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan related to ComEd. Now, ComEd executives are accused of awarding contracts to Madigan allies in an effort to curry favor with the speaker. The utility already entered into a deferred prosecution agreement. They're going to pay a $200 million fine. Madigan has not been charged with a crime. He denies wrongdoing. At Thursday's committee hearing, Republican leader Jim Durkin introduced the charge against Madigan. And shortly after that, a motion was introduced to contact U.S. Attorney John Lausch about the ongoing investigation. Committee Chair Chris Welch then adjourned the meeting, saying they'll meet again after that contact with Lausch happens. Well, we spoke with Democrat Welch last week, and this week we're speaking with one of the three Republicans who are on that committee as well. I'd like to welcome Representative Deanne Mazzocchi to WGN Political Report. Representative, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Paul. Thank you so much.
So, as I just said, this meeting goes on for 30 minutes, and then everybody seems to realize that we need permission, really, from John Lausch, not formally, but to make sure you're not going to get in his way, or to at least see what he thinks about it. And then you introduce some witnesses that you want to see. Why go through all of that when it should have been pretty obvious that until you talk to Lausch, it's hard to do anything?
Well, I don't think it actually is obvious that we need to get approval from the U.S. Attorney before we proceed. What we were doing is actually following past precedent that had been done in several other instances where this rule has been invoked. And essentially, John Lausch, in many ways, has already done a lot of the work that this committee would need to do, because the statements that are in the deferred prosecution agreement are admitted facts. So it's not just that ComEd is alleged to have done something. ComEd is admitting this is what they did. They engaged a scheme to bribe, they participated in an extortion scheme, it's conspiracy. And this is the reason why we are so focused on let's get this hearing going, because the U.S. Attorney has already agreed this is what happened. Now we're just trying to figure out, is there additional evidence that we need? What does Speaker Madigan have to say? And how do we take it from there?
So I think I want to give you a formal chance to address this. As you know, after the meeting, Chairman Welch in a press conference basically said that presenting of witnesses and all that was just a political stunt. So we'll hear from you. Was it?
No, it's not political stunt. It's actually following past precedent in terms of what other committees that have been investigating legislators under this rule have done. We know that there are a whole host of individuals listed in the deferred prosecution agreement who have knowledge. We certainly want to invite them to come before the committee to provide evidence, because frankly, if they don't provide any evidence, then the critical evidence, which is the deferred prosecution agreement statements, then those are all believed to be true. So we certainly want to make sure that they have an opportunity to come forward, say if there is something that isn't true. That's not a political issue. That's just the fundamental way in which you conduct a hearing where you're gathering evidence. You want to make sure that both sides have their say, before the committee.
Well, Speaker Madigan has called this whole thing a political stunt and basically said it's just designed to shift everybody's attention off of Trump's poor handling of COVID-19. You agree?
Yeah, no, this has nothing whatsoever to do with Donald Trump, and this certainly isn't a political stunt. It's actually a truth hunt. There are individuals on both sides of the aisle, both Republicans and Democrats, who have recognized that the statements relating to bribery, relating to conspiracy, relating to corruption that are set forth as admitted facts in the deferred prosecution agreement, they've said, if these things are true, then the speaker has to resign. So again, our committee is here to give Speaker Madigan an opportunity to speak up, to give answers, to give his side of the case. And it's going to, and we're hopeful that he's actually going to come forward and do that.
So one more check to see if this is at all political, which is, how important is it to you that this get resolved by November 3rd, by Election Day? Of course, people are voting prior to that, but is that in your mind at all? Or if this thing goes into next year, so be it.
What I think we need to do is we need to focus on getting the facts. Now, again, the U.S. Attorney has been doing an incredible amount of work on this, and we already have in the deferred prosecution agreement the culmination of years and years of work that they put into this. So I think that we certainly can move things along fairly quickly, particularly if witnesses are going to agree to voluntarily show up and testify. Now, obviously, we can't control what they do or don't do, and if people decide they want to delay the process, they're going to try to delay the process. But to me, I look at it this way. I got involved in politics because I despise public corruption. We shouldn't have it in our state government. We shouldn't have it in our local government. And, to see Illinois, which should be a state that should be growing and thriving, but it really isn't living up to its potential because of the corruption in its political class, that's concerning to me. I think it's a bipartisan issue. We want to see good government in Illinois, and unless and until we get this particular issue resolved, nobody's going to put trust down in Springfield.
If Madigan were to step down or lose his election, would that end all of this? I mean, is this about what's happened in the past, or is this about moving forward?
I think it's both, actually, but certainly what this particular committee is this committee, it's not federal proceedings, it's not a criminal case, it's not a civil case. This is really saying, considered to be equivalent of an HR investigation of members of the House. We are basically saying that the speaker has engaged in conduct unbecoming a legislator, and the charge also states that he has breached the public trust. It's our job to investigate that. Now, if Speaker Madigan were to resign from the House, then we no longer have jurisdiction over the speaker, and there's nothing further for the committee to do.
All right.
And that's what's happened actually in other instances where they've tried to do special committees involving legislators. If they've resigned from office, then the special investigation committee dies.
All right, we'll see what John Lausch has to say, and then we'll watch what you all do. State Representative Deanna Mazzocchi, thanks so much for spending time with me this Sunday morning. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
All right. An emotional plea at this week's Chicago City Council meeting.
They're targeting our children, and it will cost lives.
Coming up next, aldermen take a vote on the possibility of banning flavored vaping products. Our Tamon Bradley has a recap when we come back. And later, we're talking with Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthy about the week's developments in the nation's capital. Stay with us.